Thomas knew he would have to meet Stepney, so he raced off down the line. "It won't take long, don't worry, Lincoln," he said. Thomas then noticed a light in the distance. Lincoln reversed him into a siding. In just enough time to see the big yellow diesel whiz by. "Bust my buffers," said Thomas. "That diesel is trouble." Stepney had arrived on the secret island. Everything was old, overgrown, and falling apart. "I'm not afraid," said Stepney, but he secretly was. He only had his driver for company. Buildings lay deserted, and old trucks laid everywhere. "Okay, maybe I'm a bit scared," said Stepney. Then he heard the sound of an engine. "I can hear wheels coming," said Stepney. He was getting nervous, but he didn't for long, because Billy appeared. "Billy," said Stepney, "what are you doing here? I thought you left from the scrapyard." "I did," said Billy, "and then Thomas brought me here. Follow me. I found the missing engines." "Okay," said Stepney. "Show me the way." "Okay, follow me," said Billy, and the two engines set off. Meanwhile, in an old siding, Molly, Donald, Paxton, and Stafford sat together. Molly and Donald's tenders were off the track. Paxton was out of fuel, and Stafford's battery was flat. None of them could move. Then they heard the clickety-clack of an engine on the tracks. "Guys, I hear an engine coming," said Paxton. "So do I," said Donald. "I hope it's not the big yellow diesel. We're already in big enough trouble." But it wasn't the diesel. It was Stepney and Billy. "Och, thank goodness you're here," said Donald. "We've been waiting here for ages," said Stafford. "Don't worry," said Stepney. "Let's get you guys back on track." Stepney and Billy had pulled the 4 engines back onto the track. "Oh, thank you," said Molly. "What would have we done without you?" "It's good to see you guys," said Stepney. "Now come on, let's find a way off this..." "Wait a minute. What is it, Stepney?" said Billy. Look at that shed." "What are those in that shed there?" "Oh, Stepney, don't worry about it. We need to get off this island as soon as we can. We don't have time to explore." "Please, Donald. I'll be very quick." "All right, but hurry up," said Donald. Stepney slowly pulled the 2 objects out of the shed. They looked like engines. On the steam engine read the letters LMS, which the engines knew stood for the London Midland Scottish Railway. And on the diesel read the numbers 11001. "Huh? Who are these engines?" said Paxton. "I've never seen these engines before," said Stafford. It can't be," said Molly. "It is," said Billy. "Dennis! Arthur!" "Oh, what time is it?" yawned Dennis. "Oh," groaned Arthur. How long were we asleep for? Dennis! Arthur! Said Stepney. You're still both surviving. Oh, shut up, the two engines said under their breath. Where have you guys been? Said Molly. Hello, we've been here, said Dennis. Yeah, said Arthur. Diesel 10 brought us here. Diesel 10? Said Stepney. Who's Diesel 10? Said Paxton. Oh, that's the name we've given the big yellow diesel. He's a diesel, and he's 10 out of 10 for devious deeds and brutal strength. Ah, said Stepney. I like it. Very catchy. Now, said Arthur, how are we going to get off this island? The engines thought. Can't we just come back the way we came? Said Stepney. No, Stepney, said Molly. That's the way in, not the way out. I think I know a way, said Arthur. You do? Said Stepney. I think so, said Arthur. Let's get moving. Soon all the engines were lined up. Dennis was being pulled by Paxton and shunted by Stafford, while Arthur was being pulled by Stepney and shunted by Molly. Now, before we go, said Stepney, I need to tell you something very tragic. What is it? Said Arthur. Duck's been scrapped. What? Said Arthur. Duck's been scrapped? Said Molly. But why would Duck be scrapped? Said Donald. I don't know, said Stepney. I tried to save him, but we were too late. You're lying, snapped Stafford. How could you say something like that? He's right, Stafford, said Billy. I was there. Duck has been scrapped. The engines began to cry. Well, whimpered Molly, let's get moving. And the long cavalcade departed. Meanwhile, back on Sodor, Thomas was trying to find an entrance to the secret island. But the Diesel had arranged a line of trucks in an attempt to knock Thomas off the track. When Thomas arrived, the Diesel bashed into the trucks. But they derailed, and Thomas was still on the tracks. The Diesel growled in disappointment, and he sped off. Bust my buffers, said Thomas. What are these trucks doing here? The Fat Controller had arrived, and he inspected the mess. Thomas, he said, I don't know what you're thinking going around bashing trucks off the track. This is unacceptable for you. But sir, said Lincoln, it wasn't us. Be quiet, Lincoln, said the Fat Controller. You had nothing to do with this. Thomas thought it best to stay quiet. Harvey, who had just arrived to clean the track, said nothing. Soon the trucks were back on the track. There we go, Tobbers, said Harvey. All done. Just then, Dash came in. He didn't look happy. Why are you so upset, Dash? Asked Harvey. Well, if you heard what the Fat Controller did, you wouldn't be smiling either, said Dash. What happened? Asked Thomas. Didn't you hear? The Fat Controller scrapped Duck. Harvey fell silent.
Later that day, Thomas puffed down the line for a rest. He was very tired.
Thomas soon joined his friends in the siding.
But then, the engines heard a noise. What's that noise? Asked Percy. Huh? Said Thomas. I can't hear anything. Is it a low rumbling sound, Percy? Asked Henry. Yes, said Percy. Well, in that case, I can hear it too. So can I, said Emily. The engines kept looking around, and soon Diesel 10 sped into the yard and stopped in front of Thomas. Tell me where your Fat Controller is right now. The engines quivered, but Thomas knew he had to be brave. Now listen, we can make a deal here, right? Tell me where your controller is now! Thundered the Diesel. Thomas quivered. He's in his office, cried Thomas. If you're lying, sneered the Diesel, I will come back and I'll scrap you. And he rolled away. Oh no, cried Thomas. What am I going to do? The Fat Controller was in his office. He was going through old documents, trying to look. But then, he saw a picture of the night where he had his accident. Wait, he said. He looked closely at the engine in the photo. Wait a minute. I recognize that Diesel. Oh no. Oh no, the other engines are in trouble. I must warn them.